John, let's go ahead and get started. Let me intro
Tracy
this.
just waved.
There's
That's
Tracy
awesome.
smiling away. There she is. Well, thanks everybody for being with us on
There's
a on
Debbie.
I was telling John earlier, it's a beautiful Friday afternoon here in Greensboro, and so we're delighted that you all would join us on this call. We've got a really great special guest with us. John, we've been doing what we call daily action calls now for weeks, and have really had the honor of working with a lot of our small businesses to make sure that they're getting the resources that they need to make it through this on a daily basis. It's funny how things seem to change for us almost on an hourly basis, certainly on a daily basis throughout this process. So we do these calls. We have members on these calls, and after the calls, they get an email detailing everything that we talked about, sending them links of information. They can also follow us on social media at GSO Chamber on Twitter and Instagram. They can follow us on our Facebook page. They can go to greensboro.org/COVID-19 and see all these resources. We've archived all these calls and all these video sessions so they can go back and look at that as well. And so we're doing everything we can to make sure that we're connecting our members and businesses that aren't members, quite frankly. We're glad they're joining us as well with the resources that they need to make it through this. And so we're excited to be able to provide that service through this. That's what Chambers of Commerce are for. We make connections between people, between businesses, with problems, with solutions. We are a connection business, and we're excited about the fact that we're going to start to make some really good connections here for an event that we've been planning for a long time. We're not going to let this temporary situation derail us. It's our Impact Leadership Conference. It's scheduled for October 15th. We're going to do it one way or another. We've got a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. We'll figure out how we're going to do it. But we've been very, very fortunate and lucky to have been able to wrangle Jon Gordon into being kind of our keynote speaker for that. So, Jon, we appreciate you doing that. Let me introduce Jon to everybody. Jon Gordon's best-selling books and talks have inspired readers and audiences around the world. His principles have been put to the test by numerous Fortune 500 companies, professional and college sports teams, school districts, hospitals, and nonprofits. He's the author of 20 books, including 8 bestsellers: The Energy Bus, The Carpenter, Training Camp, You Win in the Locker Room First, The Power of Positive Leadership, The Power of a Positive Team, The Coffee Bean, and his latest, Stay Positive. His tips have been featured on The Today Show, CNN, CNBC, The Golf Channel, Fox and Friends, and in numerous magazines and newspapers. His clients include the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Atlanta Falcons, Campbell's Soup, Dell, Publix, Southwest Airlines, Los Angeles Clippers, Miami Heat, the Pittsburgh Pirates, BB&T Bank, Clemson Football, Northwestern Mutual, Bayer, West Point Academy, and more. And I think you were just talking about the fact that you just got off the phone with Mac Brown, who a number of folks on this call will know that name. I will choose not to say the institution that he works at, just that's my own personal read on that. Jon is a graduate of Cornell University, holds a master's in teaching from Emory University. He and his training and consulting company are passionate about developing positive leaders, organizations, and teams. Jon, welcome. We're glad that you're joining us. Let me start off by saying this. I woke up this morning and I almost want to put whatever the song was that Bill Murray woke up to on Groundhog's Day on my alarm clock, because it feels like Groundhog's Day every day. Woke up, decided I needed to go to work to get a couple things done, walked out into my garage, car's dead, battery's dead. So I didn't start off on a good foot, so I really need you today, especially going into the weekend. But I guess my first question is, how do you stay positive in times like these? And I know you're talking to a number of folks. How are you telling people to stay positive in the age of COVID?
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people are reaching out saying, hey, thank you for your tweets. Thank you for your social media posts. You're really encouraging me during this time. And that's just something that I've always done over the years. But for some reason, people are more receptive to it now because they really need it. Now more than ever, we need to be encouraged. We need to stay positive. And this is not about Pollyanna positive. This is knowing that, you know, you're going to have the power to overcome this, that somehow, some way we're going to overcome. And for me, I want to be honest, like I got down at first because I'm a speaker and a lot of my events this spring and the summer have been canceled. So we're talking about a lot of money and a livelihood that is now gone. And I have a team to support. I haven't laid off anyone. So I'm supporting my team, making sure I'm taking care of them, yet dealing with this challenge and adversity. But I'm really believing that we're going to get through this. I truly believe we're going to come out stronger from this. I'm learning and growing through this. I'm not focused on what I've lost. I'm focused on what I will gain and what I will create into the future. We can only control what we can control, and we have to let go of what we can't. And I lost my job during the dot-com crash. And so having lost my job during that time, 2 small children, a wife, not sure how we're going to pay the bills, only 2 months of savings, a restaurant that I had opening called Moe's Southwest Grill. I was a franchisee for Moe's way back in the day, and putting everything we had into that restaurant, second mortgage our home, and then I lose this job. So I don't know how we're going to pay the bills. It was the scariest time of my life. And I believe that that moment prepared me for this moment because I didn't pass the test back then. I was not very positive. I allowed it to bring me down. But that's where I found my faith. That's where I found positivity. It's where I found the strength to keep moving forward and the trust to just work every day. So how am I staying positive? Same thing I did back then. Win today. My goal is to win each day. And if you win each day, every day, you're going to create an amazing and great future. But you have to win every day. And so I'm showing up every day just trying to win today. And now I'm someone who went through all that could be a light for others and to encourage others. Truett Cathy said, how do you know if a man or a woman needs encouragement? If they're breathing. We all need encouragement. And Zig Ziglar was asked, Zig, motivation doesn't last. Zig, what are you supposed to do if it doesn't last? He said, neither does bathing. That's why you do it every day. And so we do have to encourage ourselves every day. We have to motivate ourselves every day. We have to feed ourselves with the positive so that way we can feed others. And one thing I'm doing a lot of is talking to myself instead of listening to myself. If we listen to ourselves, we hear all the negative, all the doubt, all the fear, all the complaints. But if we talk to ourselves, we can feed ourselves with the words and the encouragement that we need to keep on moving forward. And one final thing on that, just remember, stars shine the most through the darkness, and positive people are going to shine the most through adversity. And right now, your positive leadership means and matters more than ever. So how we can lead through these times in a positive way. It doesn't mean we don't accept the reality of the situation or the challenge that we're going through. And a lot of small businesses are facing challenges. A lot of people are unemployed. We recognize that. But how do we survive this time? Survive and advance, right? Like March Madness, which we came from. Survive and advance, adapt, and then thrive. And I truly believe that we will thrive on the other side of this. Study companies during the Great Recession and the Great Depression, and also study people during that time. The ones that thrived during those times, they were the ones who embraced the change. They didn't get negative. They embraced it. They rode the wave to a successful future. They adapted. They innovated. Those who resisted the wave, they were crushed by it. All negative, complaining, they didn't handle it well. So how we embrace change determines whether we are just going to get through it or whether we're going to thrive on the other side of this. And my goal is to be someone that can thrive on the other side of this. Have I lost a lot of money? Yes. But what am I creating right now for our future?
John, one of the tweets I think you sent out talked about a positive walk. And everybody right now, there are times of the day when I just have to get up, get out of my chair and go for a walk. And you added a specific element to that. Will you talk a little bit about what that walk looks like for you? Yeah,
the research shows you cannot be stressed and thankful at the same time. So if you're feeling blessed, if you're feeling grateful, you won't be stressed. So what I do every day is I take a thank you walk. I take a walk of gratitude. And while I'm walking, I'm just saying what I'm thankful for. And the research shows when you do that, you're flooding your brain and body with these positive emotions that uplift you rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain and kill you. And I started that walk in 2001 during the dot-com crash. That's when I started doing that walk and have done it ever since over the years. And it's just amazing how it works. So I'm doing 2 walks a day to stay sane. And I do my Zooms during the day, like a lot of Zooms, do interviews, podcasts, presentations, so forth like this, and then go on my walk again at night. I'm reading, I'm getting better. You can become more during this time or you can become less. You can become more, you can become less. And right now, choose to become more. And so that's what I'm working on. And the gratitude walk is so powerful. Like you literally, when you're done, you create a fertile mind that's ready for great things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always something to be grateful for in this moment.
Yeah, agreed. The other thing I found very interesting on one of your tweets was you're not a fan of new normal or returning to normal. Talk a little bit about normal, as we all keep thinking, again, as I wake up to Groundhog's Day, this is not normal. It's driving me crazy. It's not normal.
Yep.
Talk a little bit, expand a little bit on that if you would.
It's amazing how many times I've texted, this is so crazy, and have received those texts. This is so crazy. This is not normal. And we come out of this. It's not going to be a new normal. It's not going to be a normal. The fact is, the world's always changing. No matter what we're going through, no matter what adversity, no matter what technological revolution, the world is always changing. It's changed a lot in the last 5 and 10 years. It's different. So the fact that it's always changing just means that you're always going to experience a changing world. Let's not give it a name. Let's just know that it's changing, and we will have to change and adapt with it. And you can change for the better, or you can change for the worse. That is your choice. The world is changing, but are you changing? How are you changing for the better? And that's the key. It doesn't matter what's happening in terms of the world changing. You have to make sure you're adapting with the world to take it on. So we're now doing virtual training. We have a positive leadership virtual training. We've done 4 events so far, physical events, all sold out, amazing events. We had 4 others planned. 2 of them we had to cancel. We said, hey, let's try our virtual. Now we're doing virtual, and we are adapting and innovating and changing as a result of that. It will now become a part of everything we do going forward. We'll probably always do a few virtual events a year and a few live events a year. We got better because of this. So the change I'm talking about is what we're going through. We'll always want to connect with people. This whole idea about work from home and virtual, we will always want to connect with people. We will always be a people that connect. I truly believe it. We're not going to lose that. The same principles apply. The principles never change. How we live the principles change. Maybe your goals this year have changed a little bit because you're not going to hit the same number. So you gotta start with some new goals, but your vision shouldn't change. The vision should always remain the same. Like for me, yeah, my goals have changed, right? But my vision hasn't. Inspire, encourage as many people as possible, one person at a time, right? I'm still doing that. I'm not on stages right now. I'm doing it through Zoom. So the medium in which I'm living the vision and sharing the vision has changed, but the vision hasn't changed. So make sure you get back to your vision and just find different ways to implement it.
Yeah, we may be calling on you to lead a virtual meeting for us October 15th, just depending, again, like I said, we're going to have option A, option A is in person, option B is maybe a hybrid, option C is all online. We'll figure that out as things go along.
You know what I say? Ourselves. I said we love football, right? Just watch football. If there's football, there's meetings.
That's right. It's true.
Yeah, that's all you got to do. If there's football, there will be meetings. If there's no football, we won't be having meetings. So just focus on if there's going to be football. That's my indicator. I think, would you agree with that?
I would. And we're watching drafts in people's living rooms these days. So,
right.
So it'll certainly be interesting. I really liked also, your talk about complaining, and it being a waste of time, maybe especially even more so these days, right? Because there's so much going on that, I'm not sure there is a lot of time to complain. Expand a little bit on that for me, if you will.
Yeah, the no complaining rule says you're not allowed to complain unless you come with a solution. So complaining just doesn't do any good, right? Just complaining to complain doesn't help solve a problem. Leaders don't complain, they focus on solutions. And sometimes we don't have a solution in this moment, but we don't allow the complaining to sabotage us. We're always looking for ways to adapt and grow and find new and better ways of doing things. And so for me, one of our central core tenets of our principles, of our training, of all the work that we do is to always focus on growth, innovation, adaptation, but use the complaint as a catalyst for that. And so we don't want to get rid of complaints. We don't want to say, oh, we're going to stifle our people. No, we want our people to complain what's wrong and then identify how they could fix it or what we could do to get better because of it. So it's a great idea to always look at your challenge and then also look at the solution or the opportunity in the challenge. So again, it's a simple rule based on a company that I knew in Jacksonville, knew the CEO really well, one of the best places to work, voted by SHRM, the Best Places to Work Institute year after year, great culture, and they instituted this no complaining rule, and it was key to their culture. They were outperforming their competition 10 times the growth because everyone in the company was always looking to focus on solutions, and they didn't allow complaining to sabotage them. And when you're complaining, you're focusing on where you are instead of where you want to be, and it holds you back. It sabotages you in this present moment. So we got to get rid of the complaints so that we can create our future. Like I can sit here and complain about all the events that have canceled, all the things that have gone on. That's not going to do any good. What can I create right now to get better? How can I help others get better? If we do that, we're going to be great.
I was also really taken by your tweet the other night about watching various news channels, and then your thought of maybe a 2-week news fast that might be. What are you seeing out there when you look at the media, and how is that feeding into positivity, negativity? What is your feelings on the media coverage and maybe just in general the societal effects of what's going on with us?
Yeah, there was a great question below on John. Is you have a new work based on what you're currently experiencing? Strangely enough, I wrote a book called The Garden that's going to come out in June, and it's about what we're experiencing now. And it's just weird that I would write it over Christmas before New Year's, knowing I needed to write this book. And then sure enough, it's going to come out in June when everything is going on. It's about overcoming fear, stress, and anxiety. And it's about the battle that we're dealing with, fear, stress, and anxiety. So this is not just a physical virus. This is a emotional. This is a mental virus. This is a spiritual virus. This is a spiritual battle. And everyone's experiencing it. And you can just see the fear playing out. If you look at the data and the numbers, for instance, overwhelming amount of people who get this are going to be just fine and survive. We're going to be fine and survive. And my wife and I are pretty sure we had it, and we're doing pretty good. We're fine. Overwhelming amount of people who get it are going to be just fine. The research is showing more and more. And so there's just a lot of fear because what you're seeing on TV every day are these images, and you're hearing the stories about the people who are dying, and you're hearing about that. So it gives you a warped sense of what the world really looks like. You're not seeing every story of someone who's had it and is fine, didn't have any symptoms, overcame. Mm-hmm. And so we're naturally tuned into the fear of the media, and that's creating an irrational fear in many ways in our lives. It's almost like when you look at Israel and you look overseas and you always see the bombs dropping and the war and all the images, and then you go there and people come back and they're like, oh, it was like so safe, it was nice, it was fine. What you saw on TV is completely different than the reality that you're experiencing. Now I know New York looks pretty bad, and it's a tough place to be. A lot of places around the country though are not New York. Where I'm in Jacksonville, it's not like that at all. The governor was saying like we're fine. Like I think we had maybe 2 people that passed away in our entire area right now in our whole county. Again, is that 2 more people that I lost both my parents. So no one wants to lose anybody, but giving what the media is perpetuating, there's so much fear. So I find that this is a battle that we have to take on more than ever. What do fear and faith have in common? They both believe in a future that hasn't happened yet. Fear believes in a negative future. Faith believes in a positive future. If neither has happened yet, why wouldn't we choose to believe in the positive future? Why wouldn't we choose to believe that our best days are ahead of us, not behind us? So I'm not a scientist. I'm not going to give scientific advice, right? We follow the rules and the regulations of what we see, but we have to understand in the bigger picture what we're seeing and what's going on. And in doing so, we're smart. We take smart actions to protect ourselves, but we do so without an irrational fear that if you walk outside, you're going to get this. So that's my mindset, and that's how I'm living every day. I'm being smart. I think we all have to protect ourselves in many ways, but at the same time, don't allow the irrational fear. Really look at the data and the numbers to understand, really where you are in all of this.
So for those of us who have a little bit more time to read these days too, and you've got 20 some odd books, for somebody who might be new to Jon Gordon, which books do you recommend? Are there some that are particularly relevant to today's environment? give us some thoughts as we lead up into October, because we want to deliver a really good audience to you that knows Jon well and has read some of Jon, and we'll be sure we do that. But how do you recommend your reading list to folks?
Well, I'm honored to come there. I cannot wait. I've worked with BB&T Bank for years, and Kelly King, the chairman, has given out my books to his company in a huge way. I've worked with Duke and David Cutcliffe over the years, and he had his team read my books. And so I work with a lot of people in your area, in your state. And I would say Energy Bus. If you're going to start anywhere, start with the Energy Bus. The book was written in 2006, came out in 2007. I wrote it, came out, couldn't believe it, wrote it in 3.5 weeks. I mean, divine inspiration, rejected by over 30 publishers, didn't know if it was ever going to get out there. Finally gets published, takes 5 years to become a bestseller. And here we are now, 14 years later, and it hit the Wall Street Journal bestseller list last week and the week before that. And I think it's because it's a message of positivity and what people are going through right now. So I would say always start with the Energy Bus. Then I would say read The Carpenter, because The Carpenter is about the greatest success principles of all. And right now we need to really embrace those principles of designing your masterpiece, of building with optimism, of being a craftsman or a craftswoman, and loving and serving and caring and exponentially growing our business. So I think that would be a great one. And then The Power of Positive Leadership and The Power of a Positive Team for offices and teams and companies. I mean, it's really all about leadership right now, and positive leadership to overcome all the challenges we're facing. We need to look forward. Alan Mulally said, positive leaders find a way forward. And that's what we have to do. We have to find a way forward right now through all of this stuff. We have to overcome the negativity. We got to build relationships. We got to focus on what matters most. And we got to continue to build our businesses and grow our businesses. And that's going to be doable as soon as everything comes back.
Well, I'll tell you a story. You mentioned BB&T, which is now Truist. We have some local folks here, and they're going to be one of the sponsors of Impact, the Impact Conference. And we had a meeting, and we've been trying to describe the type of event we want Impact to be, and how we want it to be big time. And I think everybody kind of had in their mind, we'll have a couple of local speakers, and won't that be cute? And it'll be this nice little leadership conference. And then we walked in, we're telling them about it, and they said, well, who are your speakers going to be? And I said, well, we're going to have Jon Gordon. And they both of these high-level bankers sat up and went, oh my gosh, you have Jon Gordon? We didn't think you were going. Yeah, we're aiming really high, guys. And they got on board right away because they knew you from your work with BB&T and others. And so
I'm honored. Thank you. I'm honored.
Yeah, we're aiming high. We're aiming high, and we got what we wanted. So thank you for agreeing to do that. All right. Yeah, and they, as Deborah said on our chat, and they said we're in. I mean, it wasn't hard to convince them once we used the Jon Gordon name. So thank you for that.
I'm honored.
I don't see a whole lot of questions here. I've been monopolizing your time. Hopefully there are some other folks who may want to ask some questions. You've been with us 25 minutes. Maybe we can have you for a couple more minutes if we've got some questions. But let me also talk, again, it's October 15th when you're going to be joining us somehow. You can go online right now at impactgso.com. That's impactgso.com. And buy tickets. They're on sale. We've put them on sale now, and we're starting to sell some tickets even in this environment of uncertainty. And so you go online and please read more about it. We'll be adding more speakers to the lineup, because this is a 5 or 6 or 7 speaker lineup of a good full day worth of content. So we'll kick it off with you and then move to some other great speakers as well. So a great question from David Ramsey here. Can you reform a negative person? Is there hope for negative people?
Before I answer David, I want to say I've done these kind of events in other cities, and they are amazing. It's amazing the way the community rallies around and puts together these incredible events. So everyone just get together, come together, and you will create an amazing event for your community. I've been to other events, and I've watched them grow. Kalamazoo, Mississippi. I've watched these cities put on these events, and it's very exciting. It's one of the reasons why I agreed to do this. I know that you want to make this really impactful, so I wanted to help you I wanted to help you do it and be a part of that. All right, for the answer for David, can you reform a negative person? Yes, I've seen a lot of people, but you can't drive anyone else's bus. That's the thing. They have to want to change. But the biggest mistake that leaders make is they do not address the negativity that exists on their teams. They don't confront it. They don't address it. They don't create it at the cultural level so it persists and exists and winds up sabotaging the team. So we have to build a culture where we talk about positive and negative, how negativity can sabotage our team, the cost of it, and then we have to bring it to the light. And the more you talk about it, you're able to address it and then improve upon it. My good friend Nick Nurse with the Toronto Raptors, they won a championship last year. Nick told me that he put an elephant on his desk. And anytime one of the players came into his office, they were going to talk about the elephant in the room. There were going to be no bitterness, no hidden agendas, no issues that didn't go talked about. They were going to get talked about. They were going to talk about these challenges and address them. And as a result, they were able to build a championship team. So you got to address the negativity. So you need to help that person who's negative. You need to guide them and mentor them, but they have to want to change. But you do need to post a sign that says no energy vampires allowed. We're not going to allow negativity to sabotage our team. You got to talk to that person. And in that coaching and mentoring and at the cultural level, you're able to then transform them if they buy in. That's the goal. If they don't, there's other things that we can talk about at the event. But I would love to do a Q&A at this event because that's where the gems come out. And I'll be sharing a lot of stories more than I did here. I save my best stories for the events, by the way. This I got great stories that I love to share at events, and I'm not sharing them right now because I want to wait for the event to share them.
Well, and that's what we want, right? This has to be the preview, not the full feature film. So
Exactly.
it's absolutely a great preview. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, you've been more than generous with your time. We appreciate it. Hopefully the weather gets as nice down there in Jacksonville as it is here in North Carolina. This was a great kickoff for us for the weekend because you can't go into a weekend in the negative position, especially now. There's just too much going on that if you spend your weekends in the fetal position, you're in trouble. So make sure everybody gets an opportunity to go out and take that positive walk and do some things outside as nice as it's going to be. So, Jon, we really do appreciate you. We will be back on Monday, again at 3 o'clock. We'll be back on our daily action calls. Jon, you'll appreciate this. We call our Monday calls Motivation Monday. So we kick things right off the bat with let's get motivated for another big week. And so we'll be back again 3 o'clock on Monday with Motivation Monday. Until then, hopefully everybody has a great weekend. Jon, again, thank you. And we're really looking forward to that October date with you.
Thanks so much. I can't wait. And I am expecting to see you in person. I want you to know that. I am optimistic about that.
We're going to do everything in our power to make that happen. So
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jon. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful
Thanks, everyone.
weekend.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.
Again on Monday. Thank you.